school? Do you know what it's doing there? What do you like it? I'm gonna grab it for myself.
Great. Julie, thank you. Will this be meaningful?
Yeah.
Whatever ways it's going to be.
Yeah, I haven't really, all the exhaustion and all the everything I'm really looking forward to your words tonight, and hope they feel good.
Shabbat Shalom, Gemar Chatima Tova. We're going to begin coming into this space, welcoming each other. We do really well at that, Yasher Koach. And also being welcomed with the sounds of our tradition as we listen to Howard Ornstein and MJ Gilbert. Thank you so much, Howard. So it's time for us to light our Shabbat candles, our Yom Tov candles. Before we invite our board members of last year and this year up to light candles, I'm just going to invite us to take a moment and look around us, greeting each other, smiling. Let us not miss the miracle of getting to be in this space together. If you're on Zoom, I hope you're waving to each other, giving each other air hugs. I'm going to invite our board members, Shir Tikvah board members of this year and last, to please come join us on the bima. This is not the hardest thing that has been asked of you. Please come join us on the bima to help us enter this time together. Blessings for our candle lighting are found on page 9. And we say hello to beloved Amy Funk, who is with us remotely. We're so happy. Suddenly shy, but we're so happy to get to see her in space. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת ושל יום הכיפורים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. שבת שלום.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our founding members and to newcomers. Welcome to those of us who are excited to be here and those of us that are feeling a little bit scared. Welcome to our biggest accomplishments from this year, our new strengths and songs. Welcome also to our sorrows, to our struggles. You, in your fullness, you are welcome here tonight. I'm so thankful to be here today alongside such a large team of volunteers, staff, this band, our choir. So many hands and voices and spreadsheets go into us landing in this moment. Let's take a big breath in and out together. During Rosh Hashanah, Rabbi Ariel introduced the possibility of our holidays as a sanctuary or a cocoon, not an escape from all the hurt and pain and fear of this moment, but as an oasis. I'm so grateful to the collective of this community for having built that respite together over the course of Rosh Hashanah. Through tears, children's flags, songs, and wisdom, we constructed a sacred container together. And now we get to simply dwell in that container throughout these next 25 hours. My question tonight is, what will we do inside our little cocoon? What sacred service awaits us? I'd like to suggest two answers. Number one, we're going to make a little bit more space, and number two, we're going to get cozy. So number one, let's take a moment again to look around us and just really appreciate both the people here physically and the people on Zoom, the collective expansiveness of all of this community. Throughout this holiday, we'll be striving together to make sure that each of us can enter this holiday, pushing back and opening up the walls of our literal and figurative sanctuary. Some of this opening and settling is practical. You can find all the important info about bathrooms and physical access and other good stuff in the back of your program. And our ushers and staff in the welcome hall, our Macomb-Minion moderators on Zoom are here to answer your questions. Beyond these important logistics, there's the holy interpersonal work of making all the room we need for ourselves and each other. There is enough space here not only for our shining smiles, our best days and most grounded presence. There is room for our ragged grief. We are a community with loved ones in Israel, Palestine, and Lebanon. We're a community with connections to Georgia, Florida, and North Carolina. We are a community walking with 1,000 personal losses and pains. For those in person, you have on your seats, and we have hanging behind us, fabric that the community has torn and ripped over the course of the past months to represent the grief of this year, particularly the sorrow, anger, and heartbreak that has come from the spreading violence throughout the Middle East. If you're at home, I'd invite you to find a little piece of cloth. Feel free to worry over this fabric, holding its brokenness and softness near your heart. And please feel free to take it home and bring it back, but keep on holding this material throughout the holiday. Tonight, I'm imagining all of this cloth in our hands, forming a Sukkot Shalom, a canopy of peace over our heads. I'm noticing how the rips in the fabric, how the grief in our hearts allows this canopy to flex, to stretch wide enough to shelter both our strength and our exhaustion, our anguish and our hope. Let us make room not only for the heaviness of our own hearts, but also by way of witness and kindness, room for each other's burdens. And once we've settled into the spaciousness of our sanctuary, we can get cozy. For 1 second, I'd invite you to imagine, to bring to mind a space that speaks to you of total comfort. A long-gone grandparent's rumpus room, a favorite cafe, the home that you've worked so hard to build. This year, we enter not only the 25 hours of Yom Kippur, but also the sanctuary of Shabbat. In a year like this, when Yom Kippur falls on Shabbat, we do not chant Avinu Malkeinu or the 13 names of God, leaving behind the plaintive moments where we most cry out towards God for support. What's left is a slightly gentler holiday, a more intimate holiday. On Yom Kippur Shabbat, we find the divine, we find our tshuva, not in the external calling out towards the cosmos, but in the landscape of our own soul. Over this holiday, we might imagine welcoming God, our wrongdoings and resilience and expansive grief into our remembered cozy place, sinking into the oversized couch, offering the divine an old quilt. We might have the sort of honest, funny, and important conversation with ourselves and our God that can only happen in the most comfortable and well-loved of spaces. Let's take one more breath together, finding our way into this sanctuary that is both wide open and intimate, spacious and cozy. In this balance, we take on the first act of this holiday. I'd like to invite up our past presidents to help us hold Torot as we chant the words of Kol Nidre. In this ritual, we give ourselves permission to let go of commitments, promises to ourselves, to others, and to God that we cannot keep or that no longer serve us. It is hard to let go, to admit the vital need of saying no. I take strength in this difficult task in knowing that we do it together, surrounded by the fullness of each other's presence, grounded in the soft cushioning of each other's hearts. I'd like to welcome up our past presidents. We'll pick up in a minute with a song, an instrumental song, and then in our supplement.
As our presidents are coming up, I just want to name that in Kol Nidre we drop in really fast. So often Jewish prayer gives us the benefit of a warm-up. We have psalms that we sing to get us there. And in Kol Nidre, because we've been inside of this work now for weeks together, we just fall in. So my prayer is, as Howard comes up to play Kol Nidre, as we open the ark and rise in body and spirit, that we're able to just give ourselves over to the depth of this moment. Please rise.
We'll turn to the first song in our supplement, and then transition to page 16 in our Machzorim.
Come, come, whoever you are, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, come again. Come, come, whoever you are, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, come again. Come, come, whoever you are, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, come again. Come, come, whoever you are, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, come again. Come, come, whoever you are, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, come again. Come, come, whoever you are, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, come again. Come, come, whoever you are, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, come again. Beshiva shel mala, ubeshiva shel mata, al dat hamakom ve'al dat hakal, anu matirin litpalel im avaryanim. Beshiva shel mala, ובשיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם עבריינים. בשיבה של מעלה, ובשיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם עבריינים. Page 18.
Kol Nidre Vesarei Vecharame Vekoname Vechinuye Vekinuse Ushevuot Dindarna Ude ishtabana, ude hacharimna, vedahasa, anavshatana, miyom kippurim zeh, Ad Yom Kippurim haba aleinu haba aleinu lehetova kol hon icharatna vehon, kulhon, Yehon Sharan Shevikin Shevitin Betalin umevutalin La Sheririn Velakayamin Nidarnana La Nidre Vesarana La Esare Ushevuatana La Shevuot.
Kol nidre מיום כיפורים זה עד יום כיפורים הבא עלינו לטובה כולם יחרדנה והון כולן יהון שרן שביתין שביתין בטרין ומבוטלין לשרירין ולקיימין נדרנה נדרי ושרנה לאסרי ושבועתנה לשבועות.
Page 20. סלח נא לעולם הזה, כגודל חסדך, וכאשר נסעת לעם הזה, ממצרים ועד הנה, ושם נאמר, ויאמר אדוני, סלחתי כדבריך, ויאמר אדוני, סלחתי כדבריך, ויאמר אדוני, סלחתי כדבריך. We turn back to page 9.
מלך העולם
seated. Kol Nidre, everything's stood on its head. We start with the most intense work, and then you get a sermon. Oh. So just a few days ago, I missed a call. And I got a voicemail. And before I checked the voicemail, I was bracing. I saw that I had a voicemail, and I was worried that whoever had left me the voicemail was going to yell at me. Rabbi life in 2024. I let it play, and a woman's voice, one I didn't recognize, started talking. She introduced herself as Diane, and she said, "I am very sad for what you and your people are going through. I'm praying for you. It's a lot of us not of the Jewish faith that wish you peace. Know that you are loved and cared for. I'm so sorry for your loss and your grieving, and for how hard life has been for you for so long. Someone out here is praying and loving you, and also hurting." Her voice was breaking in the recording. I could feel her faltering with the fullness of her heart, and I listened, and I breathed, and I cried, and I felt the cracks in my heart and felt held by this stranger's voice on my answering machine. And another voice came through me calling, "Don't you know, Diane, how much Palestinians are suffering? How much violence and destruction is being heaped on Arabs in this moment? How much violence is being perpetrated in the name of Jewish safety? Why are you calling me?" Listening, I paused my labor, and I felt accompanied. I felt chosen. I felt held generously by a stranger, and I met this kindness with rejection and with shame. The part of me that needed comfort was embarrassed. I was hungry for care, and I was vigilant. I was keeping watch over my own reactions. I felt cared for, and I felt braced. I was worried that if I was receiving care, that meant that someone who needed it wasn't. We navigate this tension between distinguishing between self and other constantly in our liturgy. It's really uncomfortable. Our liturgy aims blessings, peace, care again and again to Kol Yisrael, to all of Israel. And we, humble, progressive, contemporary daveners, have come into the habit of adding ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, to all the dwellers on earth, extending this circle of blessing out. One concrete example of this practice of stitching ourselves together with others is the way that we have offered Oseh Shalom as a way of holding the grief and the rage at the tens of thousands of people who have been killed since October 7th, praying peace for all of the people Israel, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, and all of the dwellers on this planet. It's this radical insistence of ours that blessings are not limited. We refuse scarcity when it comes to the possibility of blessings, the possibility of peace above and below. This liturgical instinct to pray bigger, to bless expansively and inclusively, is in tension with tremendous forces of polarization and dehumanization at work in our world. After a full year of cataclysmic violence in Gaza, terror in Israel, war spreading in Lebanon, with a vitriolic presidential candidate, God forbid, presidential candidate who is spewing dehumanizing poison about immigrants, in a climate of explicit and escalating anti-Semitic and Islamophobic and transphobic rhetoric and action, our own nervous systems are rattled, our consciousness compromised. So here we are, both stretching to pray for the collective and navigating the day-to-day horror of dehumanization. This dissonance between our moral clarity and the violence of this time undermines our ability to trust connection. It dulls our recognition of the suffering of others. It narrows the possibility of our own coordinated, impactful action and distances us from knowing all the way down, all the way to the heart of us, that we belong to each other. Each of us, helplessly and forever, contains the other. We are a part of each other, wrote James Baldwin, in every time, in every moment. And we are witnessing and implicated in enormous violence, the failure of humans to protect one another and to protect our planet. We have navigated communal space constantly checking, do we belong to each other? Are we working for the same reality? It has been almost impossible to come to a sense of rest and grounding in a collective. Educator and healer Jo Kent Katz says, when the collective Jewish body gets scared, that's when the internalized, inherited narratives get stronger, because we think we need them. Those narratives include drawing really strong lines as to who we can trust and who we can't, and who is safe and who is not. This is one of the places where I see the Jewish community become buried and isolated in our own trauma. So what were our first lessons in belonging, in what belonging feels like? Learning what belonging to a place, to a person, to a community feels like in our bodies. And how did we learn the stakes of not belonging? The way that belonging can be conditional, predicated on unpredictable things beyond our control. Gender presentation or politics or age, getting subtle codes right. How the desire to belong can demand that we let go of precious parts of ourselves to fit in. And this impacts all aspects of our lives, the way we show up at work, in relationships and community, and yes, at Shir Tikvah too. This feeling of being an outsider is not unique to Shir Tikvah, but it is, let's be honest, pervasive among us. Other than our commitment to the values of Talmud Torah, of study and tefillah, prayer, tzedakah, justice-seeking, and hachnasat orchim, radical hospitality, this sense of being an outsider is probably the thing that unites Shir Tikvah members more than any other sentiment. We're drawn together by our community's commitments, and we're united by our experience of feeling like we don't belong, and someone else does. This feeling of being an outsider or of being afraid of getting marginalized can keep us from experiencing welcome. It can keep us from reaching out, from counting ourselves in. And ever since I arrived at Shir Tikvah, I've heard it. Elders feel pushed to the side. New members worry that there's not space for them in Shir Tikvah's founding vision. Families feel siloed in school. There's a fear that there isn't enough here for all of us, that we aren't a part of the community's story. And I'm certain that all humans carry some version of this caution, but in communities like ours, it's especially acute. We simultaneously carry the fantasy that if we can just find our way into a community with enough weirdos or leftists or social workers or fill in the blank, we could finally feel at home. And then we find out. Then we find it. We find it here, and we feel like it should be amazing. But when it doesn't feel easy, or when we get hurt, or we feel let down in a community that feels like it should be ours, this is an extra layer of heartbreak. It's even easier to believe that the community belongs to everyone else, just not us. So many of us feel like we're on the periphery looking in, and someone else, some in-group, is at the center. But if we take another step out, we'll realize there is no center. It's just all of us craving connection and knowing how hard that connection can be. Belonging isn't just a feeling or an emotion. It's a lived experience of being able to participate fully in the life of your community. Belonging is not passive. It's the transformative experience of having an impact and being impacted. We do not receive belonging. We forge it through active relationships and choice. We read in Talmud about a time when Rabbi Chia ben Bar Abba fell ill, and Rabbi Yochanan comes to visit him. He asks, Chavivina lecha yesurin? Is your suffering dear to you? And Rabbi Chia responds, Lo hen velo sicharan. My suffering is not dear to me, nor what results from it. And Rabbi Yochanan responds, give me your hand. And Rabbi Chia gives him his hand, and he gets up. Rabbi Chia, I want you to know, was an itinerant rabbi in Babylonia in the 4th century. And Talmud teaches us he was volatile, he was pious, and he shows up more jealous than not of other people's talents. Rabbi Yochanan, we learn, was beautiful and an extremely charismatic teacher. So I just love the fact that the teachers that are in this story are as complicated as they are. They sound like they belong at Shir Tikvah. Beautiful and troubled and wise, and having trouble landing and staying in community. These rabbis are so ideally positioned to be our teachers in how to offer and claim belonging, exactly because they struggled. How easy it would have been for this flow of care to have gotten stopped up, for Rabbi Chia to have felt judged by Rabbi Yochanan, for Rabbi Yochanan to have doubted his own capacity to heal or support, for Rabbi Chia to have been too humble or bashful to accept a proffered hand. There's no end to the myriad ways these two rabbis could have gotten in their own way. But somehow care was offered and Rabbi Chia could rise. The story continues. Sometime later, Rabbi Yochanan fell ill. Rabbi Chanina, another outsider rabbi, another possible member of Shir Tikvah, went to visit Rabbi Yochanan, who was sick. Rabbi Chanina asked the same question, is your suffering dear to you? And when Rabbi Yochanan said no, he raised him up. And the Talmud wonders, if Rabbi Yochanan was capable of offering care to Rabbi Chia, why couldn't he have just cared for himself? Why did he wait for Rabbi Chanina to come visit him? And Talmud answers, Ein chavush matir atzmo mi beit ha'asurim. A prisoner cannot liberate themselves from prison. We need each other for support. We need each other for liberation. It's not enough to have internal strength. We need each other. And significantly, miraculously, we don't have to be uncomplicated or smoothed down versions of ourselves to do it. We can be challenging. We can be unpolished. We can be honest. It is through our interpersonal struggles that liberation is possible. No one here gets out unscathed, without wounds, without having to look at their wounds and decide if they are precious, without reaching out our hand to trust the one who reached out to us. So I wonder what it will take for us this year to shake off our very wise and reasonable bristles and the worry that keeps us separate from each other, to choose into a kind of belonging to each other, a belonging with each other that is honest and joyful, connective and sustaining, to build a power from embodied practices of recognition and welcome, a web of love and care that makes us stronger and bolder and freer. That means building transformative relationships with people who imagine peace in Israel-Palestine differently than you do, who express themselves differently, who prioritize differently, but with whom we share commitments to Kol Yoshvei Tevel, to all those who dwell on earth. We have to be willing to be wrong. We have to be willing to be wrong, to be seen as being wrong, which might be harder yet, while still moving towards the possibility of safety and dignity, of flawed and vital democracy. We have to treat each other with a care that says, tell me about your suffering, I'm with you in it, and let's get through it. So much of our liturgy on Yom Kippur is in the collective voice. We just sang before Kol Nidre, Anu matirin lehitpalel im ha'avaryanim, giving consent to pray with those who have fallen short, those who have transgressed. We are expressing a collective commitment to not hold ourselves apart from one another. All of us are these havaryanim. All of us have fallen short. We can't wait for everyone to get it right before doing the hard communal work of tshuva. All of us offer our prayers together with collective consent. All of us reach for transformation through our words, our righteous action, and significantly our acceptance of each other, Our prayers don't rise despite each other. They don't rise only thanks to those without fault, but through the process of claiming one another. Dear friends, Rabbi Ari Lev Fornari and Rabbi Monica Gomery taught in Philly last week, intergenerational trauma may have brought us to this moment, but multi-generational, multiracial, multi-faith healing will carry us out of it. We belong to each other through the way we welcome and the way we recognize each other. Hospitality isn't a practice, it isn't a choice, it's our culture. It's how we create home together. Hospitality is a flow, an essential posture of welcome of ourselves and each other. It's a behaving against what our system wants us to learn, that the youth or the elders just don't understand, that leftists are traitors, that the interests of Muslims and Jews, of Palestinians and Israelis are essentially irreconcilable, that we have lost the power to dream together, that all that is possible is this brokenness, and we get to say no. Can we practice saying that? No. Ooh, again, please? No. Yes, we get to turn towards each other with love. We get to reject the myth that we don't belong to each other. The heart of resistance to fascism is exactly here. When we feel isolated, when our bristles are up, we act our fear out, and we act our boundaries out on each other. When we claim each other, the power moves outwards and allows us to solidly reject oppression that threatens us and that harms us. We have an easy time, I think, as individuals and in this community, adding ve'al kol yoshvei tevel into our prayers, saying we pray for the whole world, which is good, thank God, shkoyach. We count ourselves into a large-scale imagining of who we belong to, who is held inside this web of blessing. But it is so much harder to do that with our bodies, with our relationships. We try, we fail, we draw back, and we get to learn. We struggle a lot more with what it means to be a multi-generational, complex, multivocal, dissonant, justice-centered spiritual community, and the ways that we don't easily cohere into a single message, a single perspective. It's challenging, and it's easy to experience that dissonance as a failure. We reject each other and each other's perspective every day. We experience each other as dangerous. We lose our hold on what it is that draws us together. Each of us carries pain and hurt from past experiences of broken trust. We have all been let down by someone, and we have all fallen short for someone. We have been told that our politics are too much, or maybe not enough. We are, each of us, part of communities that cut each other out instead of turning to each other to learn. So let this be the year when we notice that we are here together, and let's start experimenting with trust. We have all the tools we need to learn how to show up together through the inevitable moments of hurt, to see them as part of a learning and growth process in this brave project of belonging. So this year, turn to each other with love and ask, is your suffering dear to you? And reach out when you hear no. Take concrete action to end suffering. Allow others to pull you up with their care and presence. Extend hospitality to each other, generously, messily, and courageously. We have each fallen short in showing up for each other in different ways, and we will fall short again. Could we start this new year by committing to trying something different? Try it on. This tradition of ours is here as a resource. This community of ours is here as a sanctuary. The stakes are so high. The urgency is so real. So let's invest in each other's survival in the biggest sense and the person to person. I want to invite you to take a moment and close your eyes if that feels possible. I know that's weird in a space this big. I want you to take a moment and feel into the ways that this sanctuary welcomes you. What becomes possible from this place of welcome? What would you want the people around you to know that is true? What would you feel ready to hear? What would we do together from this place? When you're ready to open your eyes, I want you to do so, but hold onto that feeling, that knowing. Offer the people in this space that welcome, that softness that you feel, God willing, right in this moment. And imagine what might happen if we build from this place together. Gmar Chatima Tova, Shir Tikvah. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher koach. Now we get to daven together. I'll invite folks to rise or root on page 22 as we welcome in our evening service. Ya da da ya ya yo, ha ya da ya da 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 do, ha ya yo, ha ya yo, ha ya. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach. Leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach. Leolam vaed.
You may be seated.
We'll continue on the next page, on page 24, where we bless a God that brings light and changes that light into darkness, a God that tracks our growth, our changes, our evolution. I'll invite us to take a moment to think of change in our life this past year. What is a way that we have grown? What is a way that our soul has moved? Taking a big breath in and out. We'll say the bracha on the bottom of the page. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
On page 26, we'll take this moment to wrap ourselves up in love. And we'll daven 4 lines from the bottom. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu v'hem nege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimeinu leolamim yalelai yalai yalai yalai
page 28, we turn to the Shema. If it's your tradition, feel free to rise or root.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We turn to the next page.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם.
We'll turn forward to page 40.
In the middle of the page. מי כמוך
we turn to page 44, singing these words for. I'm so sorry. We turn to page 42 for a prayer for peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom L'shalom
Hashkivenu Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim U'L'shalom U'L'shalom Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom
Uvoteinu Uvoteinu
L'chaim U'Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam
Ushmoatecha Tukach Lomecha
Aleinu Shukat Zomecha
Hashkivenu Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom L'shalom
Ashkivenu Ashkivenu L'shalom
Baruch atah Adonai Borei Sukkot Haleinu al kol amo Yisrael
Ve'al Yerushalayim
We'll rise or root as we call out this day as not only Yom Kippur, but Shabbos on page 44.
Erit olam
Shabbat
Folks can take a seat. In a moment, we'll head towards our Amidah, our quiet prayer. And to bring us into this moment, we welcome a kavanah from Senator Sandy Pappas.
Zzz. I hear this irritating noise day and night. 9:24, 8 times. 9:26, 4 times. 9:27, 6 times. And so it goes. I downloaded the Israeli Home Guard app when I was in Israel last June. During the 3 weeks I was in Israel, there were 3 alerts. Now they are almost daily. The Red Alert app, Tseva Adom, lets me know when rockets are coming from Hezbollah in Lebanon, 11 miles north of the town where most of my family lives. They have 30 seconds to get to their safe room. The Israeli air defense system, called the Iron Dome, funded by the US, destroys the incoming rockets in the air, making a loud boom, which is even more startling than the sirens. I feel it in my chest. After the rocket is destroyed, there's falling debris which can injure people and cause multiple forest fires. The women and children in Gaza don't have an Iron Dome to protect them. The people in Lebanon don't have an air defense system to protect them. I make a semicircle with my hands, fingers touching, thumbs pointing up. I take 2 breaths in and a long exhale. I've learned from my yoga teachers that this can help you relax when stressed. Very helpful. Let's do it together. 2 short breaths in and 1 long exhale. Now that I'm in the moment, I can pivot to what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful I live in a blue state. I love my city, St. Paul. I live in a condo high in the sky. I have friends and community and a beloved husband of 48 years who told me I was lying when I said that. I have a frustrating at times but fulfilling job. I love fall when the leaves turn yellow, orange, and red. There are no bombs coming from Canada or Wisconsin. I can exhale. As we enter into our individual prayer within the collective beauty of chanting and music, it's a time to share with God that we appreciate the beauty of creation as we repent the brokenness that threatens its glory. Shabbat Shalom.
We'll move ourselves into our silent prayer, starting with song on page 46. After page 46, as we sing together, we'll move into quiet, using the words in your machzor between 46 and 80, or the words in your heart. I invite folks to rise in body or spirit as we sing together on page 46.
Adonai, Sifatai tiftach, ufi agid, tehilatecha, Adonai, We'll take this time now to pray for healing, for recovery and support. Our choir will offer a gorgeous healing song, but before they do so, we want to invite you to share names of people that you're praying for, whether you share them aloud here in the space or on the chat in Zoom, or just hold people close to you in your hearts. So Rabbi Joey and I will look around the room, and we invite you please to share names of people who are in need of healing at this time.
נחלתך, וראם ונס נעשה עד העולם. מי שברך אבותינו, מי שברך אמותינו, אנא אדוני הושיענה. We pray for healing of our people. We pray for healing of the land and peace for every race and nation, every child, every person, everyone.
We turn to this central work of Yom Kippur, this act of confession of vidui. And I just want to say first how much I love the sound of babies in this space. Our night owls. But it feels so incredible in the midst of all that we're holding to have these incredible, these songs of love, these songs of life. Thank you, really, thank you. So we'll turn now to our first chance to do vidui. We will touch into vidui tomorrow morning and again in Ilah. But here we are tonight. And we're going to recite a long litany of transgressions. And these are recited in plural, for whether we as individuals committed the acts that we read or not, we acknowledge that we are in some way implicated. We are one human family. We take responsibility for the ways that we have fallen short in our own lives and in our communal lives. And as we read through these words, we add our own specifics from our lives, from our communities, from our country that we seek atonement for. I want to offer this teaching by Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch. The first step of tshuva, which is the most essential, and at the same time the most difficult, is vidui, is the confession, which is the admission to oneself that one has sinned. God does not need this confession from us, but we ourselves are very much in need of honest and unreserved confession. It is to our own selves that we must admit that we have done wrong, for without such a confession to ourselves, we can never become better. It is a difficult admission for a person to make. There is within each and every one of us a small defender who is ready at all times to deny outright that we have done wrong at all, or at least to make excuses, to mitigate and cloak our transgressions. And in this manner, our defender veils from our eyes the true picture of ourselves as we really are, but by so doing also effectively blocks the path to our betterment. Therefore, the most essential and indispensable part of the confession that we must make to ourselves is aval anachnu chatanu. Truly, we have sinned. So as we've been preparing for the high holidays this year, this is a moment that I have been nervous about. This moment that requires our honesty, our humility, our courage enough to understand that we, collectively and individually, have created harm, that we are implicated in violent systems, that we carry responsibility and accountability. And when we do this, we can change. This is urgent and an important project every year, but especially now. So let's not miss this chance. I'm going to invite us, please, to rise on page 82. Eloheinu ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, תבוא לפניך תפילתנו, ואל תתעלה מתחינתנו. אנחנו הזפנים וכשי עורף לומר לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, צדיקים אנחנו ולא חטאנו, אבל אנחנו חטאנו. We'll use the words in our supplement, number 4. And then we'll move back onto page 82 as we offer vidui. As we sing this really pretty melody, this is not a pretty song. This is urgent, it is scary, and we can do it. We can't take back what has happened. Let's not be afraid. We can't take back what has happened, so let's take responsibility. Let's start from here. Okay, so we invite you, please, pour out your voices. Let's move all the way in.
Oh, we can take back what is done, what is past. So let us lay down our fears. No, we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us start from here. No, we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us lay down our fears. No, we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us start from תפלנו שקט. Oh, we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us lay down our fears. No, we can't take back Sararnu, Kishinu Ore, we can take back what is done, what is past. So let us lay down our fears. No, we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us start from Oh, we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us lay down our fears. No, we can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us start from here.
We'll continue on page 86, flowing through this long list of confessions. You're invited, please, to join Rabbi Joey and me in Hebrew, to use English, and to use this time also to find the words that you need to be confessing, the confessions of your heart, the heaviness that you're carrying. We'll let it flow, beginning on page 86.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזדון ובשגגה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטיפשות פה.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכחש וכזב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ברכילות.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בפלילות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול הורים ומורים.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בווידוי פה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהונאת רעה.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במשא ובמתן. ועל כולם אלוהי סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי ובהסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בפריקת עול.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי עריות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במאכל ובמשתה.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנשך ובמרבית.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנטיית קרוב.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטומאת שפתיים.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלשון הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצרות עין. ועל כולם אלוהי סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
You may be seated. We'll turn together to page 110. On Shabbat, we lose some of the liturgy, some of the most mournful of our pieces, and we move right to this saying, Mi she'ana, may the one who answered our ancestors also answer us in our own narrow moment, in our own moment of distress. So our souls are making huge movements. But we're that strong. We can do it. And so we're going to turn to page 110. We're going to sing and open ourselves to that experience of calling and answering. What an honor to invite Abby Shane, our community's president, up to the bima to offer some reflections. Hi, Abby.
Shana Tova, Shir Tikvah. My name is Abby Shane. I use she, her pronouns, and I have the honor of serving as the president of the Board of Trustees. For visual access, I'm light-skinned, I wear clear glasses, and have long, wavy brown hair. In these remarks, I want to introduce myself to you, share about the year we've had and the year we're building towards, and teach some Torah. But first, some gratitude is in order. Thank you to our incredible rabbis, our staff, our music leaders, and all of you for our heroic work in creating these high holy days. Thank you to Bruce Manning, Ben Goldfarb, and Amy Funk for mentoring me and teaching me their presidential ways. And thank you to my partner, Joe, for reading many versions of this speech. And to our baby, Gabriel, happy first birthday. And thank you to beloved Grandpa, who's at home while he sleeps. A little bit about me. I'm a community organizer and a trauma therapist, a teacher and a new mom. I grew up very involved in an 80-family congregation in New Jersey. Like Shir Tikvah, there wasn't a parking lot. When I moved to Minnesota to go to college, I planned to leave organized religion behind me. I was an activist now, and I kept on seeing people wearing Jewish community action t-shirts at Actions. I had never met people who so intentionally braided Jewish practice and politics before, and that's how I found my way to Shir Tikvah. After many anonymous Fridays, Julie Jacobs invited me to open the doors during Lecha Dodi, and by that time I was a student again, this time in social work school, and MJ Gilbert, an administrator at school, wondered why I looked so familiar. Admittedly, I was also getting into some trouble advocating for changes to the curriculum. She invited me to join a committee, and the rest is history. I'm so proud to be on the bima under the fabulous disco ball at St. Joan of Arc to kvel about Shir Tikvah. At a time when many religious communities across the country are struggling, we're growing, deepening, and lengthening into new projects like our Hever Kadisha, caring for bodies after death in traditional Jewish ritual. We ended our last fiscal year with a smaller than expected deficit. And we made the courageous choice to grow our staff by hiring for a communal life organizer. Jamie fills our building with meaningful questions. Our Immigration and Sanctuary Committee won national honors from Hayes. We transitioned to Shul Cloud, and our rabbis relaunched a series of Saturday services with committed lay leadership. We've reinvested in our building, expanded our adult education offerings, and after 15 years, our Friday Torah study, led by Gail Zoffer, read the last word of the Torah. And they transitioned to studying Psalms. Old-timers and queer elders are gathering, Tat Shabbat is singing, and our Makom Minyan should really seek publication for a collection of the beautiful blessings they give our community every Kabbalat Shabbat. This isn't just who I want us to be. This is who we are, busy, connected, and thriving. And we've needed these rituals, these communities, this rhythm and life and vitality because this has been a devastating year. Since October 7th, Shir Tikvah has reached for connection and relationship in this wilderness of grief, fear, betrayal, and escalation. I'm grateful to each person who's shared their stories, truth, and yearnings with the congregation and the board. Because we are Shir Tikvah, because of relationships, because of our prayer life and being a shul and not a political organization, naming our babies and blessing our yard sites, we found something new, a capacity to reach toward each other and hold together as we and our world shook. Every morning when I wake up my baby Gabriel, I whisper the Shema in his tiny but growing ear. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. What does this word Shema mean? Rabbi Jonathan Sachs says there is no translation. Something in the ballpark of listen, hear, obey, understand, take in. The prayer doesn't go the easy way with a direct proclamation, there is one God, the end. We punctuate this assertion, this civilization-creating, distinguishing truth statement with a verb, hear. As Jews, we're in relationship with the central message. And as I'm coming to learn to the practice of listening as a spiritual practice. How did the Shema come to be called the Shema? Why the verb? It's probably as simple as being the first word in the sentence, but today it feels more than that. Being a community isn't something we believe, it's something we do. We're a people because of this responsive relational listening, this space between a declaration and its reception. I've had the pleasure and responsibility of listening to Shir Tikvah in the past year. I've learned from the Shema that listening isn't something you just do once. It's something you do 3 times a day. And I've learned that listening, real active listening, the kind of listening invoked in the ink of the letters of the Shema that I believe we know in our kitschkis changes us, it moves us. And the listening we've done this year has moved and changed Shir Tikvah. It's in listening to Kol Tikvah, this voice of Shir Tikvah, that we added our voice to Israeli and Palestinians calling out for ceasefire. I'm proud of the board's decision to call for ceasefire, and I'm even more proud of the process we took to get there, one that began in collective song, one that developed core commitments, continued with storytelling and learning together, and culminated in hundreds of conversations across Shir Tikvah. It was a decision that stretched our board into questions about our purpose and role, stretched us across generations and perspectives. It was not unanimous. But I want you to know this wasn't a decision we made for Shir Tikvah. It was a decision we made to be Shir Tikvah, to be a voice of hope, to show our broken hearts and ground our organization in a commitment to the safety and liberation of all people. In her new biography of Audre Lorde, poet Alexis Pauline Gumbs asks, "What are the treasures in our lived contradictions? What do we need to do with the sparks of friction where our fragile armor meets?" Many as Shir Tikvah feel on the margins, especially when we disagree on something fundamental. I know that Shir Tikvah has not used the words or framing that many people here desperately need us to use to feel belonging, safety, welcome, and connection. Many want and need something different from us, and some of the needs are in stark opposition. How do we hold together when we do not feel heard, when our fragile armor meets sparks of friction? With that question, I want to share my prayer for Shir Tikvah on this, our 36th year. May Shir Tikvah be a place where we don't need armor, where our joy, our hurt, our intricate complicatedness, our desperate needs are as alive as our melodies and our tradition. May we be connected enough to hold our differences. May we be financially stable and organizationally strong. May each of us give and receive gifts at Shir Tikvah and have a felt sense of belonging. May we sustain and be sustained by a vibrant and complete staff and clergy team with meaningful leadership development for lay leaders. And in that vision of our next 36 years, I see all of our kids hopping out of bike trailers and tearing open the doors to run to their bonus grandparents davening in the sanctuary. I see us laughing together, grieving together, and showing up at the dining room, in the streets, at the Zoom Oneg, and at the legislature together. It's my honor now to ask you to join Joe and me in giving financially to Shir Tikvah in honor of this holy season. Please give generously to the only place I know that makes space for this kind of being together. This is a critical time in our fiscal year, and meeting our goal of $50,000 for the High Holy Days will sustain us throughout the year and will help Jess sleep. And we still need to raise $20,000 to meet our goal. And one other request, and this one is really from my heart. Listen to each other. Listen in all the layers of the word to who Shir Tikvah is and who we are becoming. Listen to Rabbi Ariel and Rabbi Joey as they help us find a way through unimaginable impossibilities with grace and commitment. Listen to our young people and our wise elders and our Gen X's, to our earth, to everything that calls us into alignment with our values, to question what is uncomfortable to question, and be shaken enough to move and held enough to stay. Shana Tova.
Abby Shane, next Kol Nidre sermon is yours. So gorgeous. Thank you for your commitment, and really, We have been led by such incredible people. I see Ben Goldfarb taking a breath of relief. But just to say thank you so much to our leaders who have gotten us through these years, unimaginable years. I'm not just talking about this one, but really thank you to our leadership and for all of the circles of support that have kept you whole, and just really wishing you chances to rest. And may we inspire you, right? May the community inspire you in your leadership as you inspire us. Aye, loves. Okay, so we're going to begin to conclude our service on page 116. Please rise in body and spirit. We'll meet together on the fourth line from the bottom, 3 words in. V'hashevota We'll stay on our feet, or we'll stay with spirits lifted on page 122 for Kadisha Tom. We'll begin first by singing Oseh Shalom as a container to pour out our grief and our rage for all the people who have died in war, thinking especially of Israel-Palestine and the spreading war in Lebanon. We sing these words of Oseh Shalom and give voice to the depth of our feeling. Oseh Shalom. Invite us now to share names of people we're remembering, people who have died recently or at this time in years past. And I invite us please to share their names aloud, all at the same time, whether in the chat or with our voices. Tonight we're remembering
Jacqueline Gilbert.
And we'll read together on page 122. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah. Be'amad v'rach yamich v'chotei. V'chaychon v'chon. V'chayei d'chol Beis Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman karev v'yimru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah v'rach le'olam almei almaya. Yishbach v'yishbach v'yifa'ar v'yitramam v'yinaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shem v'yishach v'rechu. Le'ela me'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'ama v'yimru amen. Yehei Shema Rabbah v'yishmaya. V'chayim aleinu v'chol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom imamav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. You may be seated. I stand hopefully at the binder, hoping that there are announcements here for us. And there are. This is a real opportunity to say thank you to our incredible staff. Truly, thank you so much for how you have held us and how you have prepared us for the holidays. This announcements sheet is but one tiny testimony for how incredible Shir Tikvah staff is, how visionary and dedicated. Thank you. So thank you everyone for being with us tonight. It's such a joy to be together. At the end of the service, wow, I've never done this before. I feel kind of excited. At the end of the service, iconic words. Please return your prayer books and supplements to the usher's table. Please look on our website to see a schedule of events for the coming days and as we move into Sukkot. Thank you so much to our staff, to our prayer leaders, to our gorgeous choir, to John Ornstein, also to Marlis Fitterman, who is here, our storied choir director, our choir director emeritus. And we're so happy to have you. Thank you so much to our ushers and Shomrim, Makom Minyan, Twin Cities Sound, Security, and of course our host at St. Joan of Arc. Tomorrow, family services will be at 9:30 downstairs, and the service here will continue at 10:30. We'll then have learning throughout the day. Yisker will be at 5:30, 6:30 Ne'ilah, and breakfast at 7:30, a community breakfast here. We hope you'll join us for this whole marathon. And our High Holidays are joyfully and intentionally open to all. So thank you so much for supporting our High Holidays with your contributions this season. Now, I believe, is Lyra still here? Yes. So Lyra Fenn, who is 2 years old, was promised a dance party, which might have been overselling Kol Nidre. But we are going to seal with one, God willing, song, maybe not of dancing, but at least a very dramatic swaying. And I hope that Lyra will join us here. Okay, great. No pressure, Lyra. Let's rise. Will you call the page number?
You can find the words on page 96. We'll rise in body or spirit. One more announcement. Please feel free to either leave your textile or bring it back with you tomorrow. We'll sing together on 96.
Shabbat shalom. Gmar chatima tova. See you so soon.